Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Fierce Fight that has come out on DB Legends with part of the, I guess, part 2 or part 3 or part of the Purple Buu saga campaign we've been having. So this is Fierce Fight Buu Super, or Super Buu as I like to call them. And it is the new Fierce Fight that has come out that will enable you to get your hands on probably one of the coolest looking units in terms of card art, but definitely a very interesting free-to-play unit who actually has some really cool abilities. So obviously, for those of you who don't know, Fierce Fights, they kind of follow this similar trend. So Fierce Fights operate in like pretty specific standard kind of system now. So basically you will have 3 stages. Once you complete those stages, you will unlock the first bit of Z power for the unit. You can then unlock further Z power from the bonus challenge stages. You can unlock further Z power from the missions, and then you can either get Z power from the co-op or from the eventual full power battle. As you can see, there are also 2 types of equipment. The first equipment is a Purple Buu equipment, which can be quite useful. And then we also have the actual hyperdimensional co-op booster, which will boost the amount of souls that drop from the hyperdimensional co-op stage. In terms of the missions, these are very straightforward, the majority of them being to complete challenges associated with the stages within the event, leveling the unit, soul boosting the unit, and of course raising the unit's friendship as well. So all fairly decent, straightforward stuff. Nothing that should be too surprising. Obviously, beyond that as well, you can boost his friendship using the Path to Friendship event or the Let's Fight event. This is going to be the easiest way to boost his friendship. And for those of you who are going to ask, because it will take a while, you are going to need to complete his friendship to be able to get all the missions done. If you do not complete the friendship, you will not get all the missions done. That's usually the objective that's missing. Now in terms of the stages themselves, most of them require you to use 2 units only, most of them require you to not use your Rising Rush, and most of them will require you to essentially just kind of complete the event without doing anything too crazy. So it's a pretty straightforward system. However, of course, it depends entirely on how you fare as a player. Obviously, I'm going to be using an event exclusive team, and at first, because we don't have access to this Super Buu, we'll be using the Buu Han and the Kid Buu. Now, you can use any Purple Buu for completing these missions. You do not have to use the specific Super Buu that exists, within the event. So you don't need to have Super Buu to complete the challenges. You can use whichever Buu, but yeah, basically speaking, you are going to want to essentially, eventually use Super Buu, because he has a whole bunch of bonuses and stuff like that. But genuinely speaking, right now, you can just use whichever one you want. So that kind of covers it. Obviously, you need to complete the first stage. Once you do, you'll unlock the Z power to unlock the first Super Buu. The first stage is honestly not anything too crazy. It's really nothing too difficult. Players shouldn't really struggle with it too much. So yeah, in fact the challenges in general are not too bad. You will have 3 stages, so stage 1, 2 and 3. Once you complete those, you will unlock the 3 challenge stages. Those stages consist of the daily bonus battle stage, the equipment stage, and the actual challenge stage. If you are struggling to complete this event, you can get Super Buu Z power from the hyperdimensional co-op event, so I highly suggest you turn to that if you really are struggling with getting a Z power through this event. As you can see, we've unlocked Super Buu, and now we can go about the process of raising his level and his friendship and soul boosting him. You don't need specific souls to soul boost him, you just need purple souls, so that does make things a little bit easier. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to go and level him, soul boost him, and then obviously you're going to want to continue to complete the challenges while finally getting to the final 3 stages. Now, personally speaking, the challenges were not too hard. Like I said, there were challenges that required you to use, 2 or less units. Don't use your Rising Rush. Hit the enemy with special moves or special skills. And yeah, just in general, do some pretty simple, basic, rudimentary stuff. Obviously, once you've leveled them and everything, you can then go back to the event, and we'll return or do a little skip ahead once you've unlocked the 3 daily bonus stages. So there you go, you now have the bonus stages. As I mentioned, the challenges were pretty straightforward. They shouldn't be anything that's too difficult, and most players should be able to handle them relatively simply. Once you complete those 3 stages, you should have a couple missions complete as well. So you can complete those, and also I highly suggest that you continue to work on this friendship. Make sure that you get an early start on that, because that's going to be the biggest time gated area in general. Of course, beyond that, pretty much nothing else too major, at least in terms of preparation. Just make sure you've maxed out his level and his soul boost before you continue. It should give you some Z power. It will also unlock 1 piece of equipment for the hyperdimensional carp, so that is obviously something that's very, very cool. So in terms of the fierce fight, obviously you have 3 stages. You have the bonus battle stage, which will drop the coins that you use at the exchange shop, which you can use to buy a lot of materials, but also use to buy another copy of the soul booster for hyperdimensional carp. You will unlock a 2nd stage for the equipment, and then you will have a final stage, which is the challenge stage. Now, I don't do the challenge stages in these videos. I usually attempt them, but I've decided to just keep them to a separate video, since a lot of people just like to see how do you beat the challenge stage more so than anything else. So yeah, I'll be putting that in a separate video, so if you are someone who's interested in that, then there you go. But yes, basically speaking, it is a pretty straightforward kind of situation. So to talk a little bit about Purple Buu, because I think the combat on the screen is pretty straightforward. In the situation here, you can actually use your Rising Rush for the daily bonus stage battle, so that one's actually super easy. And then the secondary stage for the equipment actually has challenges, but these are not too difficult. So just to talk a little bit about Buu, I think his big thing is what you're going to see on screen right now, which is his support ability. So his support ability is really good. You destroy all your own cards and randomly draw 3 new ones. You also restore your own ki by 50. You immobilize the enemy, much like Flash or Master Roshi's setup. And then you inflict enemies with attribute downgrade, minus 50% to ki recovery, and minus 50% to health restoration. You can actually combo this into each other quite well, which makes it makes it a very interesting lockdown ability. His main ability draws a special arts card next, and also restores his own health by 10% and ki by 100. He also nullifies enemies' reduced ki skills, and restores ally health by 10%, so it's a pretty cool, interesting ability that he has there. His special move reduces the enemy's ki recovery, and deals major pierce damage. I think what's super interesting about Buu is he's very clearly aimed at ki recovery as a unit, with the ability to kind of nullify any ki recovery effects against himself, whilst also simultaneously inflicting the enemy with a sizable amount of ki recovery mechanisms. Once you've done the daily bonus stage, you are going to want to do that as soon as possible. You'll have to do that 3 times to clear these special missions. And then, of course, you can move on to the equipment stage, where you should be able to farm a pretty decent equipment for Buu. Buu's Z ability is Regeneration, Event Exclusive Majin Buu Saga, Strike and Blast Defense. His unique abilities are pretty decent. Damage reduction 65%, 70% to damage inflicted, 60% to ki recovery. And then, depending on how many times he's been out on the field, he restores ki, restores health, and have additional damage. If his own ki is 40 or higher after he uses an arts card, he will have 25% to damage inflicted, minus 2 to own strike and blast arts costs, reduce the enemy ki by 20, and inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 15% to ki recovery, and minus 15% to health restoration. He has unlimited vitality, which shortens his own substitution count by 2, and the following effects will occur when you switch to standby. He will restore your ally's ki. He inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 1 to arts card draw speed for 10 timer counts when he switched to standby. And depending on how many timer counts have elapsed from battle, he will have plus 20% to damage inflicted by allies, plus 30% to damage or to allies' ki recovery. He will also inflict all enemies with attribute downgrades, and then he will also restore ally health. So, pretty interesting kind of deal. The big thing beyond him from the event is the equipment. So there is a new equipment. This equipment is available to powerful opponent and support type units, and it's base strike defense, base blast defense of 10%, base strike defense, base blast defense of 15%, and base health of 10%, which is all pretty decent. It's not crazy, but it does help. Beyond that as well, you can pick up things like slot removers, energy tickets, and skip tickets, of course, from the exchange shop. So that kind of covers everything to do with Buu. Obviously, you would have just seen us complete the equipment event, or equipment stage, I should say, which is pretty cool. It wasn't too hard. It really shouldn't be that difficult. This in turn should give you enough Z power to get him to 3-star, and from there you can then start working on the bonus missions and eventually the challenge stage. Just keep in mind that a full power battle will appear in future, so that will also help you out with 3000 Z power. In terms of the exchange shop, like I mentioned, you can buy the gear, or alternatively you can buy more important things like materials and also the additional soul booster for hyperdimensional co-op, which will make your life a lot easier. Beyond that, that pretty much covers everything else. I'll be covering the hyperdimensional co-op event in more specific detail tomorrow or in another video, just covering exactly how to beat Vegeta. But for the purposes of this video, you will want to do the event, equip your units with the soul power booster, and then you are going to want to complete the event, and you will get additional souls or Z power for the Super Buu. So there you go. Pretty straightforward stuff. Beyond that, I think that covers everything that we need to know. There's nothing too crazy beyond that. I think in general it's a pretty straightforward event, and I think most players shouldn't really struggle with it too much. If you are having any issues, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll gladly try my best to assist you. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.